God doesn't exist. Here's why. Part 4. Fine-tuning. One of the biggest arguments for God is actually one of the best arguments against a God. Fine-tuning backfires on itself when you use it as evidence for God, and here's why. So the argument typically goes, well, God, he fine-tuned the universe so that we could be here, right? Essentially, the universe's properties, the laws of nature, are all configured in such a way that allows for life to exist. And the parameters are so small in which these things operate that there has to be somebody tuning this. And the fact that we exist means that there's somebody tuning the universe for us. Now, not only are there a whole host of problems with this argument, and I have a video about this, but I want to address why it backfires on the theist. So under theism, if, as they say, the universe is tuned for life, we would expect a universe where all there is life. We would expect a universe that only contains life. But yet we find a universe where we are a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what's relevant relative to what else is out there. Space and time and dark energy, dark matter, all those things. Our type of existence is such a small fraction of actually what exists in the universe. So if the claim is that the universe, the laws of nature, were tuned for life specifically, that's exactly the opposite of what we see in the universe. We see a universe that not only is mostly made of not life, right? Mostly made of emptiness and darkness and space and time, but also a universe where, for the life that exists that we know of, it's barely hanging on. We're barely hanging on. We're on this little rock spinning across this ball of plasma, this burning ball of plasma that gives us radiation and cancer. How could this be tuned for us? Even on the Earth, which is one of the most, perhaps, hospitable places for humans, still very hard to survive and come by. Most living beings that have ever existed on the Earth are now extinct. 99.9% of all living beings are now gone, never coming back. It doesn't seem like the universe is tuned for life. It seems like the universe is tuned for space and emptiness and death, if anything. So the point is, we find a universe that is exactly the opposite of what we would expect under theism. Because if God existed and could tune a universe for life, we would expect a universe with only life, where there is perhaps a flat plane of just humans, right, making choices, and animals and things, and we're just existing in nature, and that's it. Kind of like when you have a radio. When you're tuning for a radio station, you only want that one station, right? When I'm turning the knob on my radio station, I'm looking for one specific station. That's what tuning means. When I finally tune my radio, I'm looking for one station. I don't want to mix with all these different stations in one. No, I don't want a choppy mix of all these different signals. I want one signal, that one frequency. I want that one station. The point is, when you tune something, you want that thing and that thing only. But we live in a universe where not only are we some of the least common things in it, seemingly, but that there's a whole bunch of different stuff in this universe. Black holes and supernovae and space and dark energy and neutron stars and all these other things that are way more common than we are. Why would God tune a universe and have all these different stations mixed into this thing? That doesn't seem like tuning at all. That seems like chaos. Also, if the theist assumes tuning and that God had to tune us, why would God have to tune us? He's God. If God is omnipotent, it means he has physical access to all physical parameters. God could make us live on Pluto. God could have made humans not only live on Pluto or in any setup, any planet he wanted to, but God could have made us live under any gravitational law. God could have made us live under any physical parameters he wanted to. He could make humans live under any universe he wanted to, no matter what the gravity is, no matter what the magnetic force is, or whatever forces there were, God could have made us live there. In fact, if there was evidence of fine-tuning for life, specifically, we would expect to see a universe where life defies the common laws of physics, that there are separate laws for life. That would be perhaps evidence of fine-tuning, that there is some special mechanical physics that is specific to life and everything else works differently. That would be perhaps evidence of fine-tuning for life. But we see that life and everything around it operates under the same exact parameters. And this is, to me, more likely under a naturalistic universe that was tuned. And when physicists say that there's tuning in the universe, they never mean that it's tuned for humans. They mean that the laws of nature were perhaps configured in a way that allowed for the universe to exist, right? In its entirety, not for humans or life itself, but for the entire universe to exist. And there are multiple reasons for this. This is why this is possible. Perhaps, well, number one, most importantly, the universe could be infinite, meaning it's the only possible universe. Or perhaps there's a multiverse. There's a multitude of possible universes that exist, and there's a kind of natural selection of universes where the strongest or most fittest universes survive. In other words, the universes where the laws are configured in a way that allow for space and time to hold and to expand instead of deflate and collapse, well, those universes will survive, right? And the ones that collapse, they go away, they go extinct. Perhaps there's a natural selection of universes, much like evolution, right? Much like we think that we are so complex and intricate, but it's because of the billions of years of evolution that preceded us. Just like perhaps universes, perhaps there's a natural selection of universe, an evolution, a cosmic evolution of universes, where the fittest universes survive. These are all better explanations than some magic wizard who chose to make a universe, but made one where we are the least relevant things in it, and we can barely survive. If we go up 60 miles too much, we die. We have to have spacesuits. We can't survive anywhere else but this little place. Even there, that little place where we are able to survive, it's a hard place to survive in. That seems like the absolute opposite of what we'd expect under fine-tuning for life. So that's why fine-tuning not only backfires on theists, but is actually evidence against God, because we would expect a vastly different universe under a fine-tuning that God did. But also, I think design fires back on theists. Theists love to claim that we're designed. Oh, look at our bodies, look at our heart, our brain, they function. That means God designed it. There has to be intelligent design there. Not only does this argument kick the can down the road, it doesn't actually solve anything, because who designed God? I mean, if God's intelligent, who designed God? But more importantly, look at what our design, if it's designed, is. It's one where our immune systems attack itself. We have one hole to eat and breathe from. People choke to death on food every year because of this terrible configuration. But also, many people are born with terrible eyesight that mere apes can fix with a simple pair of glasses. This little simple device has the ability to fix my eyesight and to correct it. In other words, we can do better than the so-called intelligent design, and mere apes can do it. Apes that have only been here for a couple million years can do better than God, who's been here for an eternity, able to design the most amazing thing in the universe with all power, but a mere ape with a simple pair of glasses can fix it, let alone telescopes and microscopes, things that enable us to see way better than our natural eyes can, even the most healthiest eyes. How about medicine, right? The fact that we have to develop medicines and vaccines to protect us and to help our bodies function correctly. That is evidence that there are inherent flaws in our design. And the fact that we can point out these flaws, and not only can we point them out, but we can actually do better simply, is to me evidence that if there is design, it's a very incompetent designer, a very ignorant designer, who failed engineering school and has to go back. The point is that the same arguments that theists use, and this is often the case, the same arguments they use for God are actually arguments against God, and they don't even know it. And mostly it's because of their lack of scientific understanding of how the body works and how physics works. That's mostly the case. Every theistic argument fails, and for the ones that they think are the best are actually the ones that are best in the naturalist's favor. It's quite remarkable how that works.